This is a podcast of Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys.
We're on holidays at the moment.
Oh, I'm loving it.
And
Sick.
loving it.
We've gotten a collection of some of the finest work that we've done throughout the year. Oh, guys.
And then we padded it out with some rubbish.
Don't undersell it, no.
Yeah.
Don't undersell it.
And this, of course, being a live broadcast. Today's best bits are all about...
From the Vault 2015.
Couldn't have said it better
Yeah.
myself.
Oh, my God. Right to the point you are.
Enjoy.
This is Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Look, we all love ponies.
We do.
But how do we talk to them?
Well, we can't have
Lots of questions.
Unless you whisper, I hear.
Unless you have a hoarse voice.
That
Yeah,
is
he's a
Pat
horse
Parelli, who is an internationally renowned horse whisperer. Welcome, Pat.
Well, thank you.
Now,
Glad to be here.
You know what? It's really great that you're coming along when you did, Pat, because Sean's got to meet Prince Charles and Camilla on the weekend. This really may help.
So how to
Sean.
talk
Yes,
to Camilla.
how to speak to Camilla. Is that what you suggested?
I don't know. You're saying that.
Why
I
the
would-
long face?
Yes, all of that.
Indeed.
Sean, you're terrible.
Hey, Pat, when did you learn that you had this communication skill with horses? Because I've been trying to master it for many years.
Well, I wasn't very good with dogs. My mom had to tie a pork chop around my neck to get the dogs to play with me.
Isn't that sad?
But what I realized was I was actually naturally drawn to horses.
Yeah.
And first of all humans are natural till we're 12. Then we turn into practicing adults.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And an adult is a human being who practices making simple things difficult.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you're most children are very natural with horses,
Yeah.
with animals, but their parents make it complicated and tell them about never walk
rules. Yeah,
don't
behind
do
the horse,
this,
don't
yes.
do this, don't do. See, and what happens is adults are the people who become the ministers of no, and children are the ambassadors of yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
that.
really true.
And so
yeah.
that's really what I did is I went from the ambassador of yes to the minister of no. I had young man's disease, and I started trying to make horses do things, forcing them to do things.
Sure.
So I've been around horses since I was 2.5, 3 years old.
Yeah.
And I mean every day, all day long. And all of a sudden, I ran into a real horseman. His name was Troy Henry, and he brought me back to what it was that I was doing before I was 12, which was being very natural with horses. Put the relationship first, build a great foundation, learn how to communicate with them. See, what most people do is we try to train horses to understand us rather than
Yeah.
going
the other way around.
yeah. So what I've spent my last 3.5 decades is going around the world. We're doing business right now. We have students in 73 countries, including Queensland,
Really?
We're just another country.
Another
yes.
country. That's the accent.
which I'm heading to on Sunday, by the way. But we, for those 3.5 decades, I've been trying to help people learn how to speak horse.
Yeah. The thing is, I grew up on a farm, and we had horses.
Mm-hmm.
And when they got to a certain age, you got the horse breaker in to break the horse.
Right.
Now, and literally that means
That's a term, isn't it?
basically
That's an
to
interesting
break the
term.
spirit of
Yeah.
the horse to your will. Really.
Rough as guts.
Yeah, that's right. And I look back on that now. I was just a child at the time, and I think it was a process. It took a couple of weeks as well. That's not the way. That's the antithesis of what you do, right?
Is that how your pony Cindy died, Natalie?
How about we think of the word seduce?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah,
seduction
Yeah.
or horse seduction.
Yes, that's what it is. And actually, I like to think of myself as a horseologist,
Yes.
a professional horseologist, and a success coach for horse lovers worldwide. And so what I do is...
I want one of your cards.
There you go. So what I do is, first of all, what a horseologist is a person who studies horse behavior and uses communication, understanding, and psychology versus mechanics, fear, and intimidation.
Yeah.
We would never say break or train. We would say start a relationship to develop a partnership.
Oh, wow.
And,
And that
seduce-
makes so much more sense.
It does, and
Yeah.
it sounds nice.
Well, the horse is a prey animal.
yeah.
And the only difference between a horse and a squirrel is 1,200 pounds. They know they both know
Yeah,
they taste
right.
good.
Yeah.
And what people say
Does horse taste good? You haven't eaten horse, have you?
People eat horse all over the world.
all over the world, but lions, the number one predator for equids.
Yep,
See,
it's lions.
horses, zebras, and donkeys are
Yeah.
equids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's mountain lions or African lions.
Yeah, right.
That's the number one predator in basically in horse world. Okay?
Yep.
If you were an equid, that's their number one taste. For choice. Matter of fact, a lot of people don't know this, but lions, you can't feed them beef; they'll get sick.
Really?
Is that true?
They have to feed them horse meat.
Really?
Or antelope, presumably. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
So-
beef intolerant, like you with milk, Sean.
Yes.
So what I'd like
What
to do
happened
is
to me yesterday,
Yeah,
no?
Oh,
there you go.
terrible.
So, like for example, anthropomorphism is what ruins what I call equus. Equus is the word, the Latin word for horse.
Yeah.
And it means equal us.
Yeah.
So what ruins it is, one of the big things is anthropomorphism, putting human thoughts and values into animals' actions.
Yep.
So when people get frustrated with the horse, they'll say, I'll put you in a tinny, mate. They're going to put him in a dog. They're going to put him in an Alpo can or what do you guys have over here?
Tin of Pal or something.
Pal. Yeah. Okay. So it's a veiled threat, but that's how we think. I'm gonna kill you if you don't behave.
Wow.
And so not people don't do it, but they'll sell a horse.
Yeah.
They'll sell a horse, and the horse then goes to the knacker buyer. Okay.
Yeah.
And so in a sense, all they did is it just once removed from doing it.
Yeah.
Right? So the point of it is for the last 3.5 decades, I've been helping people learn how to use love, language, and leadership in equal doses. And what happens is you got two kinds of people. The extremes are the love person and the I'll show you who's boss person.
Yeah.
Okay? And both of those people think each other's wrong, and they're right. They're both wrong. There's something in the middle. It's called the extreme middle of the roadist. I call it the carrot stick person.
Okay.
Carrot stick person.
Yeah, and that's the person that has leadership means that you've got a plan.
Yep.
That's number one. And a lot of people get a lot of places with horses just because they're ambitious and they're going to do dressage or do some kind of a sport, racing, jumping, whatever. Just because they've got a plan and they're working toward a goal, the horse ends up going along with it. But the thing that I try to get people to understand is there's this thing called optimization.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not only a father, but I'm a grandfather. Mm-hmm. And so when I look down at both my little babies when they were 32 and 34 years ago, I remember rocking them in my arms and thinking, I'm going to do everything I can as your father to make sure you grow up to be, the best you can be, right? Sure. The best me you can be. And, we did the baby Einstein thing. I did homeschool. Yes. We did everything we could so they could end up being the greatest thing they could be.
Yeah, you give them the best shot at it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I believe that's how I got where I got it. My parents gave me a great foundation, lots of love, great foundation, plenty of support, plenty of boundaries and discipline.
I didn't have a door in my bedroom. So you sound like you lived a good life.
Well, we were poor.
Were you on a ranch though, Pat?
No, we were.
Were you no door poor?
Yeah. No, but we couldn't play kick the can. We were too poor. We had to play kick the stick.
But that's pretty fun.
No, I lived in. I know it's funny. Some people say I have a sense of humor. It stinks. We lived in the East Bay area of San Francisco.
Yeah.
And at that time, we actually had a horse in our backyard.
Right.
Wow,
Cool. And we had it at our school, at our high school. We actually had a school farm, and I could ride my horse to school.
And you could park your horse at school.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That is hilarious.
But nowadays,
imagine the parking fines on that.
I know.
that nowadays, that same school's there. It's all gone.
It's all built up.
It's all, all that's gone. But when I lived there back in the 60s and the 70s, it was a farming community that had houses being built around. So it was a rural, but now that's all. It's like Sydney or something. It's all just built in and built up. But the point is that most people don't have enough nature in their life.
Yeah.
We've got electric windows in our cars.
Yeah.
We've got
iPads.
Everything's a button, iPads, all this stuff, And so what we do, we go out of our way to have nature in our life. We have parks, we plant trees in the city. We do all zoos. We do all kinds of things. Some people get into horses, but what we humans do is we make it complicated. So what you usually do is we try to normalize nature. So people get horses, and next thing you know, they try to treat it like it's a Barbie doll.
Yeah.
Instead of what does a horse need?
Yeah.
Hay.
Molasses.
Okay. Not only do they need hay, but most people feed the horse like they eat themselves a couple times a day. Yeah. Horses are designed to eat. Well, first of all, they sleep three hours a day maximum because they're a prey animal. They have to
stay alert.
They have to stay alert, stay alive. They
and
sleep
that's why they can sleep standing up.
Standing up. You know how long a giraffe sleeps?
How long?
8 minutes a day.
Is that all? It must be exhausted.
Yeah, well, they don't live very long.
Holding up that neck.
So prey animals have a whole different way of going about life. How long do cats and dogs sleep?
Oh, most of the day.
Yeah, 14, 16, 18 hours a day.
Giraffes sleep for 8 minutes a day.
That's it.
I think you're part giraffe.
Get them in a bloody factory making iPads.
There you go, that's it.
The Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
There's a new book out, Dr. Karl Shortback and Science.
Ah.
Dr. Karl Kruszelnicki. I do love a pun in a title, and you
Yes,
are
Dr.
renowned
Karl.
for it.
You're punny.
Thank you, and I can explain the breaking the seal in 6 words.
How?
Yes, do
Go.
it.
Okay, drink a 6-pack, urinate a 10-pack.
Really? So you put out double.
For each 200 mils of beer in, it's
Yeah.
320 out, so I was actually slightly wrong. Drink a 6-pack, urinate a 9.6-pack, but I
What?
figured it didn't rhyme as well, so
Yeah,
I rounded
sure.
it upwards
Why
to 10.
is that? Why is that? I always feel that way.
Because your
by the way.
brain
Yeah.
gets this hydration set up by the drug called alcohol, which on one hand will strip oil off garage floors and preserve body parts for centuries if in a glass jar, and in small quantities will make you feel good, but also it interferes with your normal hydration, and so 6 in, 10 out.
But you know what? Is there such a thing as the beer goggles, Dr.
Yes.
Karl? Have you done it?
Yeah, there's work on that which shows that they did a control study where they got people drunk, and they found that both men and women are pretty darn good at sort of working out if a person of the opposite gender has got big eyes or small hands. They're both a sucker for an attractive watch by a little bit. That was the control.
attractive watch.
An attractive watch. That was the control. Do you find this watch more
Lots
attractive?
of people don't even wear watches.
Oh, come on.
I'm gonna add that to the arsenal.
Now, come on. Haven't you had the thing, Sean, where you wake up in the morning after a night out with the boys or the girls and you roll over in bed and you look down suddenly and there on your left wrist is an unfamiliar wristwatch. You think, where the heck did that come from? Why didn't the boys protect me from myself last night?
It's a really good point.
I know it's happened to me.
I've
a
thought
great
of that
point.
many a
it's happened to you.
time.
And then finally, with regard to finding members of the opposite sex attractive,
Yes.
women find men slightly more attractive, and we call that regular. And in men, we call it the beer goggles. They find women really, really, really attractive. And then it gets even worse. When they have something to drink and they have to give a speech, they think they're really clever.
they
Yes.
do.
They're
Oh,
so
yes.
My
And
dad
funny.
does that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's
And they're totally
terrible.
deluded. So they,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So alcohol is good in small quantities, but in big quantities not so. And we still don't know why dark rum causes aggro,
Yeah.
but white rum does not. I've talked to so many bartenders, and they're as clear as a bell on it. So unfortunately, this is still in a state of anecdote or story, and the plural of story is stories, not data. So
Yeah.
it hasn't been backed up by a scientific study yet. But
I would suggest that there's
Yeah.
a similar effect with white wine and red wine.
Go on.
Like that people that drink white wine do get a little bit cray-cray on it more so than on red wine.
oh, really?
Yes.
Yes.
A friend of mine, they call her the white wine witch for that
white
reason.
wine
She
witch.
just goes bananas, to quote Sean. And if she has an equivalent amount of red wine, you don't get the same effect.
Yeah, so there's so many mysteries. We
With
still don't know
with
what.
my friend, I find that wild turkey makes him break my stuff.
I've got a wild turkey bandit in my house,
Where,
in my life.
Sean? They're wild, those turkey drinkers. Dr. Karl, parallel universes.
They probably exist. We're beginning to see hints that they might exist. We have no proof yet.
Do you think they exist?
With zero proof, yes. In the
Yes.
same way that I think that with zero proof that there is intelligent life out there, because in our galaxy, the Milky Way, there are 600,000 billion planets, and there's 400,000 billion galaxies. There has to be life out there somewhere, but have we got any proof for it at the moment? Zero.
We're joined by Dr. Karl. Can you just quickly tell us about how we all nearly died on October 31st?
A big rock about 100 metres across missed us by that much, the distance from the Earth to the Moon, and if it had impacted on land, we'd have to evacuate everybody within 1,000 kilometres. Try doing that in Asia, America or Europe.
Yes.
Yes.
And had it impacted on the Pacific Ocean, which by itself is bigger than all the land masses on Earth put together,
Would have been
it would have
tsunami.
caused a 100-metre high tsunami,
Yep.
which means you just have to evacuate to a height of 100 metres the Pacific coasts of South America, Central America, North America, Siberia, China, Japan, Philippines, Australia, New Zealand. You get the picture.
Wow. I've read
And
a lot
we
of
discovered it only a few weeks earlier on October 4.
So too
weeks
late to mobilise Bruce Willis to sort it out.
Well,
Even if
then.
we had 5 years, if we had 10 years, we could go up there and get a bunch of wide boy youths and get them to spray paint it white, and that would deflect it.
You said that
Wow.
we need to.
It's called the Yarkovsky effect.
You said that we need to be living in space.
We need to
soon,
become a
don't we?
space-going race
Yeah.
for our survival. These things are just coming past all the time. And also the Carrington event might happen. Oh, here I am talking doom and gloom on a wonderful day in Perth. No. But the Carrington event could, in fact, bring us back to the Stone Age.
What's the Carrington event?
Well, this was back in my.
I know the Cannington event's the Greyhounds.
This is back in my 32nd
Got a new
book.
track, everyone. Get
there
down
was
there.
a huge flare from the sun, which wiped out all the electronics on Earth in 1859, which was just simply the telegraph lines. And telegraph operators got electrocuted, sparks came off, and telegraph huts got set on fire. If it happened today, you'd wake up in the morning and there'd be no radio. Nothing electronic would work.
We
on
need
Earth.
a Faraday
It's all
box, don't we?
You need a Faraday cage. Very good.
Nathan.
Not just a pretty face.
Thank
you
you.
need to carry a
Really
Faraday
pretty.
cage around everything. So nothing electronic would work. Now, do you have a bank book with paper and ink?
No.
No, it's all electronic, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, all your money's gone.
I've
Right.
got no
Your
money.
car won't start, right? You've got water for about 3 flushes of the toilet because in your suburb there's a hill, and on that hill is the water flowing down by gravity, and electric pumps pump it up there, that'd be gone. And basically after that, no electricity, no electronic device for anybody on planet Earth for about 2 years.
Wow,
Imagine
that's all the
that, me
things that
having
got
to
me.
ride on a bike with my poo bucket to go and speak to you,
Yes.
Sean, because I can't call you. This is
Yes.
just too much. All right.
All right.
Jimmy's in Ellenbrook. Hi, Jimmy.
Morning, guys.
Hey,
Buddy.
Jimmy.
Dr. Karl.
What's your question for Dr. Karl, Jimmy?
Well, this sort of splits in with some of the large-scale problems of the world that you guys were just discussing. And
Yeah.
I'm sure, Dr. Karl, you probably had teams of people working on this one for decades. I'm wondering if you can answer it. When you buy a bar of soap, presumably that bar of soap is made of the same stuff all the way through.
Why
For some
don't
reason, at the
Yeah.
start of the bar, at the start of the cake, you get a great amount of lather. And then as the cake wears down towards the middle, the amount of lather that bar of soap produces is less. And I wondered if there was a scientific reason for
Many
that.
people have lost
Jimmy,
sleep over this
Jimmy,
one.
how long have you wanted this?
Probably 10 years. maybe more.
Look, Jimmy, I don't know the answer. The person who does is Professor of Chemistry at ANU, Ben Selinger. He wrote
Does
a
he
book
study
called
at the Ponds University?
Oh, where impossibly beautiful men and women walk around flicking their hair in slow motion. No, but he wrote a book called Chemistry in the Marketplace, and I remember reading the answer to your question about 10 years ago, and I forgot it. I don't
So,
know.
Jimmy,
You
this
win,
is good
Jimmy.
news. We know there is an
Yeah.
answer.
Jimmy,
There's
this
an
is,
answer,
this is
Jimmy.
the closest, Jimmy, that you have gotten to an answer in 10 years. How does it feel?
It's so tantalising.
Oh, Jimmy, I'm sorry. Ben Selinger, Chemistry in the Marketplace, great book.
Can you write about it in your next book so Jimmy can buy it?
I will for you, Dr. Jimmy.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean.
Ronda Rousey.
Rhonda, you're amazing.
It's like speaking to a real life superhero.
You are.
Shush.
No, Rhonda, honestly, I get really excited when I speak to women that remind me of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and you would be able to kick her ass. Yes, sister.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've never heard that comparison before.
Well, Rhonda, we've got you in because we're able to speak about UFC 193. It's going to be at Etihad Stadium. Can you believe that you've outsold just about anyone in history that's performed in a UFC major fight, and also being here in Australia?
Well, I'll believe it when it's done. You know, like after I beat Holly and I'm in the back, and you know, I can't really like revel in it until it's already been accomplished. So we'll see. I mean, it'd be pretty awesome though. If anyone's gonna break the UFC record, it's gonna be Australian. So
But you know
Yeah,
what?
for sure.
You will sell the tickets because you transcend UFC.
Yeah.
You're like just celebrity. Like that's what you are now, and that's brilliant. And I'm frightened to ever meet you in a laneway where you have a problem with me because you would snap me like a twig, honey.
no, I don't walk around just beating people up.
Oh,
all day.
no, but if
it's
it
a
co-
really expensive service from me.
Hey, Rhonda, we saw Serena Williams the other day chase down somebody that stole her mobile phone, which, you know, obviously a huge mistake. Can you even fathom what would happen if somebody tried to, say, snatch your bag?
Well, I can't run very well. That's the thing.
Okay,
like
you're right.
my knees are so shot. So, but I'm really good. You know, like I'm really quick. So I think I could get them before they went too far.
Yeah.
No one's ever tried it though. You
No,
know?
I'm not surprised.
No, I wouldn't think so too. So, Rhonda, what are we thinking about Holly Holm here? She's a boxing champion. She's a 19-time world champion or something, isn't she? She's pretty handy. So, are you just going to be able to wrestle her and get her to the ground rather than stand up and punch on?
Well, it's tricky because she's undefeated. She's got a lot of head kick knockouts, and she's coming into MMA, and she has 100% takedown defense, and she's a counter puncher. So she's not the kind of person that you could just skip the striking part with. You know, you start standing, you start having to strike somebody, and you have to outstrike them in a way to be able to clinch it all. And so I'm just going to have to outsmart her first, and everybody will have to watch to see how.
Okay.
Wow. It's amazing the amount of thinking that must be going through your brain when we're seeing you just fight, because for all of us, we'd be back to the wall just swinging
Yes,
and not knowing
it
what's going
looks
on.
instinctive, but you're obviously thinking about every move.
Yeah, there's a lot of decision making. There's decision making and prioritizing going on. And so, like, in hindsight, I can remember all these things. Like, some of these fights that are like 14 seconds long. If I describe to you all the things that are going through my head and all the decisions I was making, it sounds like a 5-minute fight.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like everything goes like super quick, but really slow at the same time.
right.
Well, that's all the coaching and all the training you do, so it becomes automatic. With your coaches, when I've seen you on YouTube and stuff, just throwing them around, they're blokes. Is that a bit emasculating? Is that the right word for them? That you're ditching them over the shoulder and smashing them to the deck?
No, because they know me. I mean, my judo coach, we trained together since, I was 11 or 12 years old, so he knows me really well. And, there's no ego when I'm training,
But could you beat him?
That would mean he's done his job right. If
in a real fight, I
Yes.
could beat all of them. I mean, that's what they're trying to do. That's a compliment to them.
So was judo your gateway into MMA? Like, was that the first sort of martial art that you mastered?
Yeah, I went to 2 Olympics in judo and got a bronze
medal?
Beijing. Yeah, and I realized afterward that I had no work experience and no education, and my only skill set was like really throwing people down and breaking their arms. And what am I going to do with that? I got a cocktail waitressing job in a really bad neighborhood that helped me out. Yeah, well, other than that, I was kind of out of options, and I'd be bartending, and I'd see MMA on TV while I was bartending, and I'd tell people I was like serving, and be like, "Oh, he's doing that wrong, he's doing that wrong," and I would do this if I was him, and then they'd look at me like, "Yeah, whatever, this girl doesn't know what she's talking about," and I started getting frustrated with the fact that like I knew exactly what I was talking about. I knew I could beat up any girl in the world, even with no MMA training, and I was frustrated by the fact that I thought I was the best in the world and no one believed me.
Yeah, right.
I
Now
want to
you've
know,
proven it.
your name is your name eclipses any other UFC fighter.
Yeah, it does.
Male
now.
or female.
Male
Yeah.
or female. Do you do they give you shit about that, basically? Because the fact is, you are so well known.
The guys?
Oh my
No?
God, the guys are like the most respectful and like
great.
sweet
What about the
people
other
ever.
women? What about the other women?
Well, the ones that I fight don't like me too much. But, the ones in the other division, they seem pretty cool too. It's
good.
weird. When I was doing judo, I really didn't get that much respect at all. I never had a guy judoka, like a reputable one, ever come up to me and ask me how to do anything.
Yeah, right.
But in MMA, I get that all the time, and I think that's what real respect is.
Hey, Rhonda, the other thing is, obviously, this is going to be the biggest fight we've ever seen here in Australia. Do you feel like you're doing some stuff for, women power and all kinds of stuff? Because we've just recently had the Melbourne Cup, and a young girl, Michelle Payne, won it as a jockey, and it's the first time that's ever happened.
I mean, that's awesome. The trend that I see happening, with the women jockeys, and I was watching, just television commercials and seeing so many, Australian women athletes on there, and I think it's become so commonplace to see women succeeding that it won't need to be said anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm not introduced as the women's bantamweight champion when I walk out or when. They took the women out because it's obvious that I'm a woman. It doesn't need to be said. And soon it'll be so commonplace, I think, that,
I love that.
It's not going to stand out anymore. It's just going to be the way it is.
I love finding out, and I hope this is true. Do you play World of Warcraft?
I do.
Oh my gosh. That is
I'm a night elf hunter. I was so excited when I got my flying mount. You have no idea.
Oh my God.
Do you play against the same kind of crew and log in with different people?
I have some friends that play, but I don't know if they want me to say who they are because I don't mind being nerdy, but they might mind.
I think it'd be cool.
There is primed for there to be a World of Warcraft movie and for you to star in it now. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That's why I started playing it, because I heard that they're making a World of Warcraft movie, and I'm like, I want to do some research.
Yeah!
I think they're already I think they dropped like the trailer or something like that, or they already made it without me. I didn't make my impression fast enough.
What about Captain Marvel? Because it was, people.
I'm working on it.
Good.
I am working on her. That's for
so
sure.
good.
When you
I put my bid out early.
Yeah, exactly. When you're playing World of Warcraft, like how long can you do that for? How many hours?
how long is it like physically possible
Yeah.
or just like in my life?
For you.
I mean, it's hard because I got a lot of stuff to do, you know,
Sure.
but when I have free time, I'm just so exhausted. I'm like, okay, what can I do that's entertaining and requires zero movement? And that's usually what I end up doing. That's like my whole Sunday usually. It's like World of Warcraft and Tai Chi Panda. It's kind of like World of Warcraft, but I can play it from my phone because I travel a lot, you know?
Yeah,
I have to
yeah.
have- when I play World of Warcraft, I have my station set up and
Sure.
my gaming mouse, and I have like this cup of coffee that's shaped like a skull, you know, and like it's like a whole thing. I have like a pillow and chair configuration, and if I'm not like in my little happy place like war den, then I'm not gonna play, you know. So Tai Chi Panda, I can do
Tai
it.
Chi Panda.
I've been playing that in my room in Melbourne, you know, on my iPad and just hanging out and having a great
Tai Chi
time.
Panda.
That is
I love
quite
it.
a contrast
Oh,
from World
it
of
is.
Warcraft
Love
to Tai
you.
Chi Panda.
You're-
No, they're really similar actually.
There you go.
Hey, Ronda, back to the UFC for a second. Dana White, what's he like to work with? Because he can be polarising sometimes when I see him, but, you know, he runs the show and he's not afraid to get himself out there.
I mean, Dana's the man. And him and Lorenzo, I mean, they've been amazing bosses to me. I would never ask for a raise once, and they just take care of me, you know? And
Yeah, so you don't have to really fight for what you think would be right because, you know, you are the headline act these days.
yeah, like I know that I'm going to be treated the way I deserve to be treated. I mean, I feel uncomfortable like bargaining for like clothes at the silk market in China. I'm not going to feel comfortable bargaining for my
I'm
contract.
terrible at that.
I'm bad at that.
I hate it. I hate bargaining. I like if you offer me a car at one price, be like, okay, I guess I'm buying it at that price.
I go away with my parents every Christmas and I make mum go and barter for things because I
Yeah.
can't do it because I can
Yeah,
take
I
my
can't
money,
at
take all my
all.
money.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
I feebly say, "Is that your best price?" And if they go, "Yes," oh, okay.
Yeah, so they really take great care of me in that way, and also when it comes to my hot wings after the fight, that like Dana and Lorenzo have like made it a thing to make sure that I have my hot wings because
Okay.
if- I will cry. I will cry if
You'll
I'm
win the
done
fight,
beating
but
a
you'll
girl
cry.
up. Yeah, and there is no hot wings. Like Dana already made the arrangements for them to like shut down a restaurant and for them to like make hot wings, especially for us. We did the same thing in Rio. They flew in a private chef from Sao Paulo
Yeah.
Yeah.
to Rio de Janeiro and made us out till 5 o'clock in the morning and rented out a restaurant just so I could have some wings
Isn't that
when I got
you?
done fighting.
And
amazing.
how hot did your hot wings have to be?
I like them like medium to hot
Okay.
because
Yes.
I want to actually taste the chicken.
Because
Yeah,
otherwise
yeah.
everything in your face just leaks. Your nose
Yeah.
leaks, your eyes leak, your
Well,
ears
it's
leak.
not that I'm against spicy. It's just I want to taste all of it. And then I got the blue cheese going on. Get that ranch away from me. If you're using ranch, we aren't friends. Or we have to be really close for me to let that slide.
There you go. You've heard it from Ronda Rousey using ranch. You're not friends.
Yeah, no way. Hey, Ronda, being here in Australia is obviously big because we all love you as well. But has there been some weird places you've rocked around, you've lobbed into somewhere around the world where it's hard to believe people in those countries, you know, recognise you or watch you?
Yeah, I was in Bulgaria for the Expendables, and a friend of mine, Glenn Powell, who is on Scream Queens now, but he played Glenn in the movie. I'm not.
Oh,
He didn't
yeah.
play Glenn.
Oh,
He
yeah?
played
Yeah.
Thorn in the movie, and we're like walking around. It's like on our first day because we're just trying to fight jet lag, and we have no clue where we are. And we like tried going up to a couple people, and they were just like, "Ugh, whatever, we don't speak," you know, and just kind of like brushed him off. And I'm like, I'm gonna find somebody. I saw like one dude with a tap out shirt on randomly in the middle of Sofia, Bulgaria. I was like, him, he's our guy.
He's the
and
one.
then I just walked up to him. And I was like, hi, how's it going? And there I am. Please don't be from Taken. You know? And the guy was like, oh my God, da, 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 da. And like, you know, he showed us where to go. And then like a friend of his like got on a scooter and like followed us to make sure that we found our way, like to double check on it to make sure we found it. Yeah. And then I went to another gym there. And I wanted to find some people to train with. I couldn't find anyone. And a couple guys were like starting to get on the mat for like wrestling or something. And I was kind of like shy, but I wanted to train, you know? So I was like,
Yeah.
hey, excuse me, is it okay if I train with you guys? And one guy looks at me and he goes, I am going to faint. In the middle of Bulgaria. I mean, who knew?
I'm going to faint.
I'm going to faint. So that's my worst Bulgarian accent ever, by the way. But yeah, I got to roll with them and everything.
You sounded
It was pretty
momentarily
cool.
like a
Oh,
vampire,
that is
which
cool,
was
mate.
awesome.
It sounds cool.
You know what? You're brilliant, Rhonda. And, you know, you're so successful. But you are such a real person to talk to. I love that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are all real people yourselves.
Oh,
Stop it.
straight back at you.
Thanks for talking to us, Rhonda.
No problem. My pleasure. Have a good one.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au.